Hello everybody, I am Mrigendra Pratap and I welcome you to today's talk, the concept of engaged Buddhism. I will cover this lecture in three parts. The first part is introduction, the second part is what engaged Buddhism is and is not, and the third part and the final part would describe about concepts and manifestations of the engaged Buddhism. So, in the first part of the lecture, first I will give an introduction to the concept of engaged Buddhism. After that, we will look at the background and the definitions of engaged Buddhism. So, I start with the introduction. The term engaged Buddhism was coined by a Vietnamese Zen Buddhist monk, Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh, in 1954, and soon after that this term became popular during the Vietnam War from 1955 to 1975. The concept and manifestations of engaged Buddhism can be seen even in some Buddhist leaders' thoughts and works in the Buddhist Asian countries at the end of 19th century. Therefore, this talk will map the starting point and background of what is known popularly as engaged Buddhism and explain the concept and its manifestations in the light of modern and contemporary society. So, now I will give light on the background of engaged Buddhism. Around the beginning of the modern era, the European colonial powers began political, economic and cultural colonization of the rest of the world. The mid 19th century witnessed an effect of these forces which to some extent functioned as a catalyst that introduced modernity to the Asian Buddhist countries. In this way, the Western form of modernity found its foothold in the Buddhist countries through colonialism and the Christian missionary movement. Later in the 20th century, most Buddhist Asian countries faced multiple crises in the form of social, economic and political problems. As a response to these developments, several scholars, monks and leaders from all sects of traditional Buddhism began to flex the ability and strength of their respective traditional sects in order to respond to the threat posed by modernity, which gave impetus to the emergence of modern Buddhism. It is notable that engaged Buddhism or socially engaged Buddhism emerged during the modern period, and it is a dimension of modernity. The purpose of engaged Buddhism is to solve contemporary problems on the basis of Buddhist principles and practices, and to make Buddhism relevant to modern and contemporary society. The notion of engaged Buddhism emerged in the post-colonial times when Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh opposed the war between North and South Vietnam. This war was supported by respectively by the Soviet Union and its communist allies on one hand, and by the USA and its capitalist allies on the other hand. Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh initiated the movement with the help of nuns, monks and lay people who put in great efforts to end the war between North and South Vietnam by advocating a third way, that is, not siding with either of the involved parties. Now, after the background of Engaged Buddhism, we will try to understand the birth and definitions of Engaged Buddhism according to Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh. So, according to Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh, Engaged Buddhism is a just Buddhism. When bombs fall on people, you cannot always stay in the meditation hall. Meditation is about the awareness of what is going on in your body, your feelings, and all around you. When he was a novice in Vietnam, he and other young monks witnessed the suffering caused by the war. So, they were very eager to practice Buddhism in such a way that they could bring it into society. That was not easy because the tradition does not directly offer Engaged Buddhism. So, they had to do it themselves. That was the birth of Engaged Buddhism. According to Thich Nhat Hanh, the first meaning of Engaged Buddhism is the kind of Buddhism that is present in every moment of our daily life. While walking in the supermarket, Buddhism should be there so that you know what to buy and what not to buy. Also, Engaged Buddhism is the kind of wisdom that responds to anything that happens in here and the now. Global warming, climate change, the destruction of the ecosystem, the lack of communication, war, conflict, suicide, divorce, etc. Now, we see the emergence of Engaged Buddhism in academia. The concept of Engaged Buddhism appeared in academia in the 1990s when scholars Christopher Quinn and Sally B. King used the term to describe the Buddhist social movements in Asia and the West in their works. In the last 26 years, many scholars, practitioners and Buddhist leaders have tried to define the concept, characteristics and practices of Engaged Buddhism in the light of Buddhist traditions and modernity. According to Sally B. King, Engaged Buddhism is a contemporary form of Buddhism that engages actively yet non-violently with the social, economic, political and ecological problems of society. According to Christopher Quinn, the works of two Buddhist leaders, Colonel Henry Steele Olcott and Anagarik Dharmapala, can be considered as the first and foremost leaders of Engaged Buddhism. In the late 19th century,